the battle that should never have happened. History teaches us that Americans fought Germans. It tells us about Normandy, the Battle of the Bulge, and countless brutal battles fought across Europe. For years, one rule never changed. If you saw an American soldier and a German soldier, you knew exactly what would happen next. They would fight, but on the 5th of May, 1945, something happened that history almost never allows. American soldiers, German Wehrmacht soldiers, and French prisoners found themselves standing behind the very same walls, facing the very same enemy, not each other, the SS. Imagine arriving at a battlefield, only to discover that yesterday's enemy has become today's ally. No military manual could prepare anyone for that. No one planned it. No one expected it. Yet inside a medieval castle hidden in the Austrian Alps, that impossible alliance became reality. The place was called Castle Itter, and the battle fought there would become one of the strangest and most extraordinary stories of the Second World War. A castle full of prisoners, Castle Itter was unlike any other prison in Nazi Germany. It did not hold ordinary prisoners. It held people Hitler considered politically dangerous, former French prime ministers, cabinet ministers, generals, military leaders, members of famous families, celebrities, people whose names carried enormous influence across Europe. For years, they had lived inside the castle, waiting, listening, wondering whether the war outside would end before someone decided to execute them. By the spring of 1945, Germany itself was collapsing. Berlin was surrounded. Hitler was dead. Communication between many German units had broken down, but one organization continued to fight, the SS. For many SS commanders, surrender was not an option, and they had no intention of allowing the prisoners inside Castle Itter to survive. The German officer who chose honor, not every German soldier still believed in Hitler. One of them was Major Josef Gangl. He had seen the war change. He had seen civilians suffer, and as Germany collapsed, he reached a decision. He would no longer fight for the Nazi regime. Instead, he chose to protect the people living in the nearby Austrian town of Wörgl from unnecessary destruction. Then word reached him. The prisoners inside Castle Itter were in danger. Gangl knew something extraordinary had to happen. He needed help, not from Berlin, not from the SS, but from the enemy, the Americans, yesterday's enemy. Captain John C. Jack Lee Jr. had spent years fighting German forces across Europe. Now, a German major approached him asking for assistance. It sounded absurd. Everything about the request felt impossible. Yet, after hearing the situation, Lee made a decision almost as remarkable as Gangl's. He accepted. Soon afterward, American soldiers, German Wehrmacht soldiers, an Austrian resistance fighter, and the French prisoners inside the castle prepared to defend Castle Itter together. History had never looked quite like this. The last battle. Before sunrise, SS troops surrounded the castle. Machine gunfire erupted across the walls. Bullets shattered centuries-old stone. The defenders fought from windows, battlements, and narrow corridors. French prisoners carried ammunition. Some even picked up rifles. American soldiers fired beside German soldiers. Orders were shouted in different languages, but everyone understood the mission. Hold the castle, whatever the cost. Then tragedy struck. While trying to move former French Prime Minister Paul Reynaud to safety, Major Josef Gangl stepped into enemy fire. He was killed instantly. A German officer, dying to save a French statesman while fighting alongside Americans against fellow Germans. It remains one of the most extraordinary acts of courage in the entire war. Victory at dawn. The battle lasted only a few hours, but for those inside the castle, it felt far longer. Eventually, American reinforcements arrived. The SS assault collapsed. The prisoners survived. Castle Itter had been saved, not because one army was stronger than another, but because a handful of people chose cooperation over hatred. Even in the final days of one of history's darkest wars, humanity still found a way to surprise itself. When enemies become heroes, today, Castle Itter still stands among the Austrian mountains, quiet, peaceful, almost impossible to imagine the battle once fought within its walls. Visitors see a beautiful medieval castle. Few realize it witnessed one of the only battles of the Second World War in which American and German soldiers fought side by side. Major Josef Gangl is remembered in Austria as a hero. Captain Jack Lee received one of America's highest military decorations. The prisoners lived to see the end of the war. History usually divides people into allies and enemies, but Castle Itter reminds us that sometimes the bravest decision is not choosing who to fight. It's choosing who is worth protecting. Because even in war, humanity can still be found.